Hi there, this is Miss Caitlin from Vivo Kids Art Academy, and today we are going to do our next project in the cartoon camp. Today we're going to be drawing a cartoon animal, and we are going to be drawing a project of Totoro. So I'm very excited for this one. I hope you are too, and let's get going. All right, so here is the project of Totoro we're going to be doing today. Totoro is like a cartoon or anime style animal. It's obviously a fantasy character. He's like, I think, a bazillion different animals all wrapped into one. He's kind of like a raccoon, cat, bunny, and a dog, kind of wrapped into one package. So let me tell you about the materials that you're going to need today. You're going to need markers, of course. I used marker for the background. But mostly we are going to be using watercolor and color pencil to fill in Totoro and our little friend at the top here. I also used a little bit of marker for his nose and to fill in his eyes, but again, you could do that in watercolor or color pencil if you want. You are going to need a practice piece of paper and a final paper. I definitely recommend it being a thick piece of paper because, again, we're using watercolor for a majority of our piece. You're also going to need a pencil, an eraser, and a permanent marker or a Sharpie of some kind. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, we are going to begin with a practice drawing. This is going to give us a chance to really see the different shapes and practice the line work for Totoro. Now, if some of you have been with Vivo before, you have probably drawn Totoro before. He is really adorable. And he is a really excellent sort of, cartoon animal for us to consider. He is mostly just a shape. He is this sort of like oval shape that gets bigger towards the bottom. And his features, like his eyes, his nose, and his ears, are also very simple. So he makes it really easy to draw. And that means that a lot of people and a lot of children can draw him. So once you've got your pencil in hand and your paper ready to go, let's start. Turn your paper vertical so that it's up and down, kind of like tall like a milkshake. And we're going to begin by drawing the top of Totoro's head. Now this is a very close-up version of Totoro. If you want to draw Totoro's entire body, be my guest, but we're just going to draw him from this very close-up view. So I am going to begin with a Sharpie because, again, my pencil doesn't show up very well on my camera, so you use a pencil for this. I want you to draw sort of a rainbow, but a very thin rainbow, towards the top of your paper across. Then what we're going to do is we are going to make the ears. Now for the ears for Totoro, they're kind of like these tall leaf shapes. So you're going to start on one side. You're going to draw a curved line up. Start from this point and draw a curved line down. And you are going to do that on both sides. His ears are pretty tall. All right. Now, if you need to pause the video at any point to just sort of catch up on your lines, please feel free to do so. But again, for the practice draw, these don't have to be perfect. Next, we're going to go ahead and draw the sides of his body. Now, you're going to start from the bottom of the ear where you left off. You're going to first draw a short curved line, and then you're going to draw another curve off the page, kind of like you're making a very long letter M. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. Start underneath the ear here. First draw a big curved line, then draw another curved line. Check it out, we almost have Totoro. It already starts to look like him, right? And of course, we need a big belly for Totoro. So start at the bottom of your paper, and you are going to draw an enormous rainbow all the way across and down. We'll get to the little patches of fur, the details on his belly in a second, but let's go ahead and draw in his eyes. So the eyes for Totoro are very large and they're actually quite far apart. So I'm going to be placing them right about here. Now I'm going to be drawing circles for Totoro's eyes, but if you want to get creative and draw different kinds of eyes for Totoro, go for it. I think that would look really fun. Now I'm going to draw his eyes pretty close to how they are in the cartoon movie, but if you want to do cute eyes or something else, go for it. So what that means is I'm going to draw a U shape and a U shape. He's going to be kind of looking up towards the little spirit on top of his head. I'm also going to add a highlight in the eyes. Next, we're going to go ahead and draw the nose. Now, the nose is a very interesting shape. It starts just about here. It's pretty close to the eyes, and it starts with this rainbow shape for the top, and then it has this curve on the sides and a U shape on the bottom. Now you can draw Totoro's expression however you like. You can draw him frowning, smiling. You could draw his mouth open or closed. I'm going to draw him kind of like he's curious of what is sitting on top of his head. So I am going to actually draw a small circle for his mouth down here. Okay. Next, of course, we need the whiskers. Totoro has these adorable long whiskers. So you can go to the side of Totoro's cheeks and draw 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's go ahead and draw his little spirit friend on the top there. So you're going to go to the top of Totoro's head. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to do the same lines that we did for Totoro, just a little bit smaller. So start about here, and you're going to draw a short little rainbow for the top of this little guy's head. Next, you're going to draw the ear shapes. So remember, that's going to be a curved line up, curved line down, curved line up, curved line down. Then for the body, draw a curve and a curve. And then you can just draw a curved line down and a curved line down that touches the top of Totoro's head. Now our little buddy here, he doesn't really have that much of a face. He just has 2 eyes. So you can draw 2 eyes for our little friend here. Now in the movie, his eyes kind of look like this, 2 big circles with 2 little circles on the inside. But if you want to draw a different kind of face for him, go for it. And then of course we have the different patterns of the fur here on Totoro's belly. Now I'm going to show you how to draw that shape. We'll draw a few here, but we'll draw more of them on the final draw. So to do the little pattern on Totoro's belly, you start with a rainbow line. You go underneath and do another rainbow line, kind of like you're making a banana shape. And you're just going to add as many of these as you like. I'm going to do 3 on the top and then maybe 4 on the bottom for now. I'll kind of see how much room I have once I get to the other side. So it looks like I do have enough room for 4. And that's the practice draw. Pretty easy, right? So once you are done with drawing out the fur pattern down here, I want you to take your practice drawing and I want you to go ahead and set it aside. And we are going to get out our nice piece of paper that we want to do all of the fancy work and for real stuff on. So again, this is going to be our final draw. So this might be your watercolor paper or just a very thick piece of paper for this part, okay? Again, I'm going to draw in a Sharpie, but you should be using pencil for this part. And we're going to do all those steps one more time. Now, because you already heard me walk through the steps once, I'm going to draw just a little bit faster, but you can pause the video and go at your own pace, okay? So remember, turn your paper vertical. Start with the top of Totoro's head. It's that long rainbow line. Then you can draw the ears. Curved line up and down on both sides. I'm going to move this just for now. And then you can draw the rest of his body and his head. So that's going to be a curved line and a curved line. And then another curve off the edge of your paper. To make the belly, that's that really big rainbow line. Goes all the way around and down. And then we can do the eyes. Again, I'm sticking pretty close to what Totoro looks like in the movie, but you can change things as you see fit. In fact, I encourage you to get super creative, especially with these cartoon projects, just because cartoons are a great way for you to really express what you want to see and have a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the nose. Again, that's pretty close in between the eyes here. Rainbow line for the top, U shape for the bottom. I'll do a curious mouth, so I'm going to put like a little open mouth towards the bottom here. And add whiskers. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add his little friend at the top of his head. It's basically all those same steps like I explained, it's just now it's smaller. Curved line, curved line, curved line, curved line down. And then he just needs 2 eyes. Now if you wanted to put something else on top of Totoro's head, like maybe a flower, a leaf, or something else, you can, you don't have to draw this little fella. You could just put something else on top if that's something you want to do. Now, once you have all that drawn, you can go ahead and add the little fur lines, fur pattern to Totoro's belly. Again, you can add kind of as many of these as you like. They're a pretty fun shape to draw, so don't be afraid to add more or less, depending on what you want to see. Ta-da! All right, now there's one more thing you get to add that I'm going to let you add if you choose to, which is 2 little lines above the nose, just to kind of help it stand out a little bit. Now, of course, if you need a moment to just catch up on this final draw, to get everything the way that you want, maybe you wanted to add something into the background, please pause the video and then you can continue on once you're ready. Now, if you are ready to move on, your first step is going to be to outline all of these lines in a Sharpie. So I've already done that. So I want you to also pause the video and outline all of your pencil lines in Sharpie. Okay? So go ahead and do that and then resume once you're ready. All right, so if you are ready to move on, this is what I want you to do first. You can take your Sharpie or a black color marker, and I want us to fill in Totoro's eyes. So go ahead and take some time to fill in the eyes. You're also going to fill in the nose. And then if you did a mouth like me, we're also going to fill in the mouth. You can also see I already filled in the insides of the little spirits at the top. If you didn't already do that, you can feel free to do so now as well. So I'm filling it in, filling it in. You can also leave a little highlight on the nose. So I'm going to leave like a little oval to show that his nose is shiny. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but you can. To me, it makes it look even more cute. And then I'm going to color that part in here. There we go. I'm also going to fill in the mouth like I said. And there we have it. All right, now once you have those all Sharpied or colored in the way that you like, we're now going to go ahead and work on our Totoro. Now, I'm actually going to have us go ahead and work on the background first because I actually did that in marker. You don't have to wait for marker to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and take out a marker. I'm going to do a yellow background, but you can feel free to choose a different color if you'd like. I kind of want all of my cartoon projects to look the same, at least have a similar background or just a similar sort of something to tie them all together. That's why I'm using yellow. So maybe you can think the same way. You can use maybe the same color you did for your background that you did on your Batman project from before. Now, you could also choose to do your background in watercolor if you want. It's kind of up to you. I'm just going to do marker because it will look the same as my other project, as I mentioned. This is a pretty big area, so I'm going to take a couple of minutes to just fill it in and outline around my space. And do my long strokes. And again, it looks like my yellow marker on my screen here for my Mr. Sketch. It looks like it's being a little light. So I'm just going to again switch to these yellow Crayola markers that I have. fill in. So I'm going pretty fast, just so that you don't have to watch me fill this in for, a nondescript amount of time. But you can feel free to go slow and take your time. What matters most for you is that you are getting the instruction, rather than trying to finish at the same time as me. All right, we're making our way around there. Still doing my long strokes, trying to be even, trying to stay neat. Missed a little white spot there, gonna fill that in. Oh yeah, let's get that final draw out of here and let's get the final color sign onto us. Sometimes you might need to turn the paper in order for you to draw these lines comfortably, which is okay, you can do that. There we go. All right, so take the time you need to fill in the rest of your background, but once you are done, we can talk about filling in our Totoro. Now this is where I'm going to switch over to watercolor, and what's important for this part is that you might need to get either a palette or maybe a plate for you to mix your watercolors in. Now Totoro is this really pretty and really cool looking gray, so I'm going to show you how to make gray with watercolor. Since it's such a large area that we're going to be coloring in, his fur of course, I'm going to use a big brush. The first thing I'm going to do is get water, and I'm just going to paint pure water onto my palette. Kind of want to make a little pile of water here. The next thing I want to do is I want to find the black. So here's my black. I'm going to take just a little bit, like the tiniest amount. And then I'm going to mix that into the water. And this is going to make the color gray. Now Totoro isn't just a regular gray. I was looking at images of him and he actually has a little bit of a brown tint to his fur. So I'm going to take the teeny tiniest bit of brown and I'm going to mix that in to this gray color I made. Now I already know that's not going to be enough to color this entire area. So I'm going to go ahead and make a lot of this color now that I know what I want it to look like. So if you're unsure, again, the little recipe for making the gray for Totoro is a lot of water, a little bit of black, and a little bit of brown. Remember, be careful as you are adding black paint or even brown paint. The color can be really intense. That just means the black paint will overpower other colors that you put into it. So only add a little bit at a time so that you have the most control over your watercolor. All right, that looks pretty close to what I want. I'm now going to go ahead and put that on. So you can see that's actually not dark enough, so that means I need to add more paint. Go ahead and mix that in. All right, that looks pretty dark on my palette, but when I put it onto my paper, yeah, that's actually still pretty light, which is okay. Might still mean that I have more colors to add in. It's all a process. So don't worry if you don't get the color right on the first time. Just practice, just mix, kind of see how it looks for you. There we go. Once you get a color that you like for Totoro's fur, you can go ahead and paint it down. Now you could do gray, but if you also want to do a different color, you can too. If you already decided to do Totoro's fur gray like me, that's great. Maybe you could do like different colors on the belly. All right, so what we're doing right now is technically called a watercolor wash. Now we're obviously not washing anything like a dish. Instead, what we're doing is we're kind of washing the paper, so to speak, with this color. We're trying to cover a huge area with gray. Of course, be careful